while we're talking Hall of Fame, to kind of preview the conversation, Mark, let's preview the class of 2025. And we'll do so by checking back on the results of 2024. And it lends together because Billy Wagner fell 5 votes shy of 75%. So as we look at this, you go wherever you want, Mark. You can comment on what we saw, and then let's spin it forward to the next class.
Well, Matt, I think historically when a guy gets over that 70% threshold, usually the next year he gets in. So I think Billy Wagner is certainly a favorite to be inducted a year from now, or elected a year from now, I should say. I think Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran are 2 other names to watch. Jones getting just over 60%, Beltran about 57%. They're both making their move up. You know, the question with Beltran in a lot of people's minds is how much are people still dinging him for the Astros situation? Is that really keeping him from making that move towards 75? But certainly I think he and Jones have a chance to get up towards that 70% mark a year from now. Next year's first-timers, I think there's 2 guys who stand out above everybody else. Ichiro should be a lock, guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer. You know, it's hard to argue against a guy who came to the majors at 27 years old, played for 18 years, played till he was 45 years old, and collected 3,000 hits after playing the first 7 years of his career in Japan. That's a no-brainer. To me, CC Sabathia is a no-brainer as well. Dominant pitcher for 8 to 10 years, best pitcher in his league for a very long time. Great long career. Won a World Series, won a Cy Young. I think CC's there. Pedroia is the other guy I look at on this list who I think has a chance to get in. You know, didn't have the overall career numbers, 1,800 hits, about a 51 WAR on Baseball Reference, but Rookie of the Year, MVP, couple World Series, big piece of those Red Sox teams. I think Pedroia is going to get a serious look, although Chase Utley's numbers this year I think surprised me a little bit. I thought he was going to be a little higher than that. He was on my ballot, and I thought that was maybe an indication of where people might look at Pedroia as well.
Yeah, how much do you think Utley's status affects Pedroia?
I think it will to some extent. You know, Utley won 1 World Series, Pedroia won 2. Pedroia does have an MVP in the Rookie of the Year, but I do put those guys sort of in the same bucket in a lot of ways. So I think the fact that Utley finished, I think, around 30% this year will lead me to believe that Pedroia might not be headed for a first ballot, and I'll be really interested to see where he lands a year from now.
You know, second base is such a hard position for the Hall of Fame. Here are a couple of guys who man that position who will be first-year eligibles in 2025. And if you look at the 10-year peak, and we hear a lot of conversation around that these days, comparable WAR, a little higher batting average for Petey. Petey played and had more postseason success with the 2 World Series championships that Mark discusses. But look at the OPS plus, almost a wash. And I guess for second base, once a Veterans Committee put Bill Mazeroski in with a career 260 average, it changed the calculus for every second baseman moving forward. Now, Maz hit one of the biggest home runs in the history of the sport, also 10-time All-Star, so it's not super fair. It's kind of apples to oranges, but second base gets cloudy. I'm going to give you a hot take here, and this is probably not such a hot take. I'm going to say that Ichiro gets in as a unanimous.
That's a hot take.
Yes, because if you're not voting for Ichiro, what are you doing? There's no way you don't vote for this guy in his first year of eligibility to be a Hall of Famer. I would be really curious to talk to somebody if they left him off their ballot next year. And I would find all kinds of flaw in that decision. This guy, I mean, he is a first ballot unanimous for me. See, what your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm all in on Ichiro. I'm honestly all in on Ichiro and CC. I wouldn't understand how anybody could leave Ichiro out. Clearly, the numbers speak for themselves. But on CC, we've had a little bit of a drought from the pitching side as well, not having won since Roy Halladay. So I'm assuming that 3,000 strikeouts, 250 plus career wins, that's going to play, and then after he goes in, as I expect him to go in, it's going to be somewhat of another drop before we see Kershaw, Verlander, and the Scherzer wave come in behind him.
Yeah, that's a good point. The left-handed strikeout list, all-time, legendary company. Wouldn't it be wild, and I'm with you on CC too, wouldn't it be wild after all the years of no unanimous, first-time eligible players? Then we get Mo Rivera. Unanimous. Right. Then we get 2 in the same class. Mark, is it crazy to dream about that?
Completely insane. Sabathia will certainly not be unanimous. There are going to be people who definitely don't vote for him. Here's my question. Here's my pushback on the Ichiro thing. There was another guy who played a lot of his career in Seattle who should have been unanimous. How could anybody have argued that Ken Griffey Jr. was not a first ballot Hall of Famer, and yet 3 people left all off their ballot? Derek Jeter, somebody left him off his ballot. I just don't, the unanimous thing to me is such a bizarre situation, because you could probably name 30 players in baseball history that should have been first ballot unanimous Hall of Famers. And people, I mean, who doesn't vote for Tom Seaver, right?
Ripken.
There are so many of them that you can go back to. And, Ichiro seeing the Seattle uniform made me think, well, Griffey wasn't unanimous, so Ichiro won't be either.
There's always the voter that's going to put two picks in and not pick anybody else.
Or somebody who's going to send in a blank ballot, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now, Matt, Ichiro will be on my ballot. So if he's not unanimous, you can't blame me.
We won't blame you. Good.